Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. We have a part 2 today. We are going to be going over my experience on Dr. Phil. Luckily, they actually uploaded the clip, and so we're actually going to watch it. So I'll be able to tell you kind of what I thought about everything and be able to show you guys visuals, which I'm very, very excited about. Before we get into that, though, if you see all these lovely people here on the side of the screen, they are from my Twitch live stream. I stream on Twitch pretty much every single weekday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 2 p.m. So if you're ever bored around those times, please feel free to join us. Okay, so like I said, today we are going to be going over my experience on Dr. Phil, Dr. Philip, as I like to call him. We're friends now, so I use his legal name. Actually, one of the things that I wanted to say, like, I literally never spoke to him at all, or I didn't shake his hand. We didn't get to take a picture together. I don't know if it's like protocols that they have now, but like, man, it would have been cool to have a photo with Dr. Phil, but that just didn't happen. But that's neither here nor there. So we're going to go over this video. So they uploaded a couple videos onto YouTube about the experience, or not about the experience, about the episode. And it's actually nice because they uploaded one that pretty much shares everything that I ended up saying in my, like, they uploaded everything about me, basically. So you guys know I'm full of myself. So this is actually going to be perfect for me to kind of go over and share you guys, you know, what I think about everything. So this is the video right here. It's called "Has the Body Positivity Movement Gone Too Far?" And so let's do it.
Lost the weight.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil. Has the body positivity movement gone too far? Based on science, if you're overweight, you're at risk for diseases.
I disagree with you.
So you would reject the
Bum, bum, bum. Sorry.
science.
People of a higher weight are more likely to survive heart attacks. So many doctors are...
Like, of course. Like, I don't know why you would say that. Like there's, I don't know. Like, we've talked about this before. That's the obesity paradox. If you've never looked into that quote, and like, that's like from the obesity paradox, which kind of talks about like, oh, it was shown that people that were of older age that were actually a little bit overweight were actually, they actually did better in certain things versus people that were underweight. But a lot of like my kind of response to that is like, especially when we're talking about people that are older, right? Like, you know, like 80, 70, you know, like getting up there in age. It's like, we all know, like, someone that is frail at that age, that is underweight or just like skinny, that's usually a sign of things that are going wrong. And so I don't know. Okay, I'm not going to try. Let's just move on.
Middle-aged white men, and my body is different.
Thank you for calling me middle-aged.
So this was one, when she said that, I knew he was going to come back with that, because I was like, Dr. Phil is not middle-aged. But this is, and you'll see in this video, they were going like back and forth, and it was like, it was pretty intense, man. And like, I honestly got a little emotional, which you'll see later in the video, but I was not ready for how combative they were against Dr. Phil, and then he was against them, because when I say them, it's her and her husband. I was not expecting that. Like, that is not what I don't want to say I signed up for, but that's not what I thought this whole conversation was going to be. So I was a little caught off guard, if I'm being completely honest.
I've struggled with my weight and my body image my entire life. Kids bullied me for my weight, but I always shrugged it off, thinking, oh, well, they're just like mean kids. When I was 10, my friend's mom told me, Lexi, with those blue eyes and that beautiful singing voice, if you just lost the weight, you could take over the world. So it was particularly soul-crushing to learn that adults were thinking negatively about my body also.
Yes, there we go.
My journey to...
I mean, I think a lot of us have experienced that, and it sucks. You know what I mean? It does.
Accepting myself was gradual. I've really made peace with my body. I started creating content for Instagram about 4 years ago to document my own self-acceptance and body confidence journey. One of the most common troll comments I receive is that I'm promoting obesity. So many people seem to feel entitled to a fat person's personal business and are quick to judge them. When people are berating me online and telling me I'm gonna die by the time I'm 30, It is not inspiring.
So this is one thing that I do like agree with to a certain extent. Lexi, she was very feisty on the show, and her and Dr. Phil were definitely arguing, but she seems like in person like a pretty nice person. But, and I want to make this clear, and I don't mean this in a wrong way, but Lexi has made many posts that are a lot more than just, oh, this is me being a fat person, okay? And like, so I agree with what she said there. Like, if all your posts are like you just being a big person and you posting a picture of yourself, or you being like, hey, I'm at Disneyland, I'm enjoying myself, or I am doing this thing, and people come at you and say you're promoting obesity, screw those people. But when you start making videos and making TikToks where you are making claims, like one of her videos, she makes the claim that being not attracted to someone that is overweight is basically the same. I'm paraphrasing, but it's similar to not being attracted to someone because of their race. And I'm just like, okay, that is going too far, right? That's like more than just I'm a fat person and this is, and so again, it definitely felt like a little bit like she wasn't really kind of, like, especially in this like teaser part of the video, it was like not really, and I'm surprised that they didn't play that clip. I was very surprised that they didn't talk about it at all, which I thought they would for sure, but they didn't. And then one other thing was that I noticed, and I was like, that seems like kind of rude. When they first brought Lexi out, which I think there's a clip of her in the chair, but the chairs that they're first on are like pretty high up. They're like stools, and like they gave her like a step stool to get onto it, but it was difficult for her to get on there, right? And I remember thinking like, why would they make her get on this chair in front of all these people? It just felt like, come on, like clearly that's going to be difficult. Why not just have, and she was wearing a skirt too, why not just have regular chairs to make it easier? I don't know. It just seemed like a little unnecessary. But again, there were definitely some things that I felt like were skipped over that I feel like is a big part of why Lexi is so popular, because those TikToks that she's made in the past and those like those things that she said have really attributed to, or are a big part of why she's become so popular, but then also so polarizing, and why I would say she deals with a lot of the negativity that she deals with. Not saying that there aren't assholes out there, because if you look at the comments of these videos, like there are people saying really, really nasty stuff, really, really mean stuff. And so I'm not saying that there's no trolls, because that's not true. There absolutely are. But she has played a role in some of the stuff that she's made, whether or not like, you would agree with what she says or not. I do think it's important to say, hey, these are the things that you're saying, and this is why people maybe are being quote unquote mean or disagreeing with you so hard.
Will and I are soulmates. He is the love of my life.
I think body positivity is good, but people online have made rude comments to Lexi just because she's fat. It's painful to watch. I respect her tenacity, her fight, and her vigor through it all.
I hope
They genuinely did seem like they really loved each other, and I thought it was very cute. Like they, again, I don't agree with a lot of what they're saying, but they actually seemed like they really cared about each other, and that's always very heartwarming.
I hope that people can just see me loving myself the way that I am and feel inspired to love themselves the same way.
What's your definition of body positivity?
My definition of body positivity is pretty simple. It's self-acceptance.
Before we get any further, pay attention to these little title cards because they are hilarious. They are so funny. Okay.
Radical self-acceptance, regardless of whether you're as healthy as you'd like to be, or whether you love how you look, or maybe sometimes you don't.
Dang, that's a handsome guy over there in the corner. Geez, look at that bicep. Sheesh. Sorry.
It's the belief that no matter how you feel in that moment, you know that you are deserving of good things and respect and dignity.
Okay, how many of you, just by a show of hands, would support what she's just saying with her definition? Okay, how many of you would say, I got a problem with that? Okay, a couple of wafflers. Okay. I'm raising my hand because I got a problem with that.
All right.
So when he did that, I was just like, oh God, like this is where this is going to be going. Like, this is how this is going to go. And I was just like, all right, here we go. Here we go.
Do you define it pretty much the same way?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay. Then I got a problem with both of you two. So you're in
We
trouble.
can work it out,
Yeah,
I think.
I bet. Now, here's my problem. See, I think we, in this society, I think we have always confused body image with self-image. I think they vary together and should not. We have a good body image, our self-image goes up. We have a poor body image, then our self-image tends to go down. That shouldn't be the way it is. Would you agree?
I agree that
I agree with this, and this is why I was she brings it up a little bit, but and to her credit, like, again, it was like constant, just like bam, 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 and so like I think they did a really good job, like as far as being able to answer all the questions that they were thrown at them. Again, I don't agree with a lot of what they're saying, but I think they did a good job handling the situation. But I was really hoping, and I wanted to bring it up, but again, it was like, seriously, like, I had no time to talk. I tried my hardest. Like, I ended up raising my hand at one point for like a long period of time, like, please let me talk, because I was hoping they would bring up like body neutrality, which is really, it really seems like that's where she sits more so, and like something that I agree with a little bit more, because body positivity, a lot of the detractors, and like I agree, is like, why does it have to be positive? Why can't it just be like, my body is my body and it is what it is, instead of my body is beautiful and I'm beautiful and everything is good and everything is happy and rainbows? It's just like, that's just not realistic in my opinion. And so I am much more a fan of, you know, body neutrality. And it seems, at least from what I understand, it seems like that's probably where she would sit at more so as well. I could be wrong on that, but yeah.
how you view your body shouldn't be the only thing that makes you feel good about yourself. That's what I think body positivity helps with. If you start to change how you see yourself, if you start to approach your body image with a sense of compassion and tenderness, then you start to see yourself in a more gentle light rather than like a harsh criticism. And so when you are feeling negatively about your body, instead of it making you feel negatively about yourself altogether, you can say, I feel negatively about my body today, but I'm going to show myself kindness and compassion, and I'm just going to say, you're doing your best, and tomorrow's a new day. And then that way you kind of lift up your entire self-image.
So you're
So again, like, when I hear stuff like that, I'm just like, yeah, that sounds good to me. Like, I can't imagine being like upset by hearing that. I'm just like, yeah. But again, it's when you dig deeper in a lot of the ideologies and a lot of how people express this, especially on TikTok, but just social media in general, that's where, you know, I disagree with a lot of what's being said. And I would say a lot of the people that may be on this show disagree with what's being said.
You're contradicting yourself then. You're saying, I don't like my body image, I'm just accepting it, and I'll do better tomorrow. And I don't, see, to me, this body positivity says we're not going to focus on body image, we're going to focus on the person inside, but it seems to be totally focusing on body image.
To an extent, I agree with what he's saying here. That's why I think that I just really wish she would have like drove home like, hey, maybe body positivity isn't the best thing, but like, let's talk about body neutrality, because I just feel like that's such a better, like, I just feel like it's better in my opinion, of course.
What about the health issues? What I think most of the critics about this focus on the fact that by seeming to celebrate the body, not your worth, not your value, but to celebrate the body, you're ignoring the health risks.
The whole point of fat acceptance.
Here is when things really started to go off the rails, and it was like they cut a lot of this out, and I think in the full episode they maybe show a lot more of it, but it just became like, it got really, in my opinion, not helpful. Like, people started throwing out like, this study says this, and 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 I was just like, dude, most of the people that are watching this have no idea what these studies are. They don't care, and so this is like, it felt like everyone was trying to prove who had the most studies and who had done the most research. And in my head, when I was sitting there, I was like, dude, no one cares. No one cares. We need to move on from this. And this was everyone, like the people on my side, them, Dr. Phil. I just kept thinking like, please move on. This doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Ugh.
Body positivity, body neutrality even, is destigmatizing the fat phobic, toxic diet culture, beauty standards, all of these expectations that are put onto people to look a certain way or to avoid looking a certain way. It's destigmatizing having a specific body image, destigmatizing fatness, and it's putting an individual's personal experience and their personal journey to the forefront.
At 20 years old, I was at my heaviest weight of 360 pounds. I was really afraid that I was going to, die really, hey, who's that guy? really soon. I decided that I wanted to change my life. I have lost about 180 pounds overall, and I've been able to keep that weight off for... So this recording, they literally asked me, it was like the day before we were supposed to drive up there. And they said, hey, we need you to film a video and say all of this stuff, right? Like, basically, they said, like, there was a lot of stuff that I changed because I was like, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. But I was like, okay, I'll say this stuff, but like, I'm not going to say exactly what you've written down here. But I was just like, okay, so I was like not planning on going. This is when I had the office, obviously. And I had to drive there and like recite all this stuff. And I was like, I don't know if they're going to use it. I'm surprised that they even showed the tattoos in here. Because if you notice in all the pictures that they show, they like, they blur all tattoos. Like none of them, you can see them. And so I was like, I don't know if they're going to like this, but it is what it is. But yeah, it was just like, I was like, okay, I guess I'll get that done. It was pretty gnarly. For about 10 years now. I actually started to document my journey on Instagram as well as YouTube. I want to make it very clear. It was rough. It was rough. I also don't believe that Also, Jesus Christ, how many hairstyles have I had? That's the first thing I noticed when I was watching this. I was like, I'm bald. I have long hair. My hair's blonde. My hair's pink. I was like, holy crap. Losing weight is obviously a bad thing and that you should be shunned for it or made fun of, or in my case, I'm called fat phobic because I've lost weight. I've been called an ex-fat because I've lost weight. I have had a lot of people be very angry at me because I advocate for others that want to lose weight. Ideal beauty standard, like, no. I am here to say, if you do want to lose weight, I believe in you. I believe you can do it. It is very hard, but it's worthwhile, and me losing the weight has been one of the best things I've ever done in my entire life. So, I mean, that's still what I believe, right? And that's like what I go into in the episode. That's my message, right? Like, if you don't want to lose weight, okay, my videos aren't for you. But if you're someone that wants to and you want to do it, I believe in you. And I do think that there are things that are out there that make it harder for people to lose weight that I wish we would have talked about more in this freaking video. But I do think that it's possible. It's freaking hard, but it's possible. And I want you to have support and not get berated and be told that you're fat phobic because you want to lose weight.
Well, John, welcome.
Yeah,
you
thanks
worked
for
really
having me.
hard to lose weight, right?
Yeah, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done, yeah.
How much did you...
So honestly, at this point, I felt like, you can't see it in this video, but by the time I was finally introduced, they had been arguing a lot, okay? Like a lot. And then like he was bringing other people into the to the talk, and it really felt like Dr. Phil and all of us against this couple, and it honestly made me like a little uncomfortable. Or I'm not uncomfortable, but I felt for them because I would not want to be in their position. Like I've said this already, but if I was in their position, your boy would have been crying, okay? I would have been tear cry baby boy, snot-nosed John, okay? Because I wouldn't have been able to handle it. Like, they were taking heat from everyone, and I was like, I don't want to add to it. I just didn't. I was like, I disagree with y'all, but I don't want to add to any of this because I don't think it's helpful. I don't think I'm going to change your mind and you're going to come away from this like, oh my God, John made me realize I need to lose weight. I understood that. So I was like, I'm not going to focus on this couple. I don't care. Honestly, like, I don't care about them. In the most respectful way possible, I don't care. Like, I just don't. I want to talk about obesity and how do we solve this? How do we help people that really want to lose weight? How do we do that? That was my goal. And so I just really tried to like I was like, I don't care about you. I just want to share my movement. So I'm going to hijack this and try and do what I can.
Did you lose total?
180 pounds.
That's a whole other person.
Yeah.
Right? And so
it was funny when they clapped. I was looking at Dr. Phil. He almost like rolled his eyes like, oh my God, get it over with. And I remember thinking like, I was like, you guys don't have to clap. Like, it's really, you don't need to clap for me. I just remember thinking like, it's fine. I get it. Yes, I lost weight, but I just like.
do you consider yourself healthier?
Yeah, I mean, I would consider myself healthier, yeah.
There are people that have done what you've done, lost weight. There are celebrities that have done it. Adele, Rebel Wilson, Jonah Hill that get.
So I just kind of want to share. So this is the setup. So this is a perfect shot because like we weren't able to like I haven't been able to show this, but like this is what it was like. We were all sitting right next to each other. Okay, so like these are the people that are on the show, and then this is the other two. So it was literally us against them is how it felt. Okay, so it's like we're all sitting here across the way. And again, remember, I was very I did not want to be the one wearing a suit. All right, and so I'm very proud of this whole outfit. I picked myself. All right, so just want to I'm very proud of myself. And the amount of makeup that I'm wearing, I think, is very, very obvious. Very, very obvious because I look like it's ridiculous. But like this, it was a very, again, like all of this went into how I felt about the situation and how I really didn't want to like attack this couple, regardless of how much I agreed with them or didn't, because like that just wasn't my goal. You know what I mean? Like I'm not here to argue with someone. Like I understand, especially where they are in their journey when it comes to health at every size and like fitness and you know, just all of those things. Like I understand that I don't think I'm going to reach out to them and change their minds. Like they are very, they believe what they believe, and that's fine. But I want to share what I believe. You know what I mean? And also, my girlfriend is in this crowd. If you guys want to try and find her, you can. But I'm not going to point her out.
Celebrities that have done it, Adele, Rebel Wilson, Jonah Hill, that get criticized for losing weight. And you've had people say traitor, you know, that you've quit on them, right?
With weight loss, I think a lot of people see it as
Jean Claude says he's criticized for losing weight. I'm sorry, it just makes me laugh.
As like they were talking about some sort of moral success, right? Which, and I can understand how you guys feel, being just feeling like because you're fat, you have people that are attacking you regardless of what you believe, regardless. I get it. I was there. I know what it's like. And so I think you guys are doing a great job, by the way. But I have dealt with that. I have dealt with people upset with me, upset with my name on Instagram, ObesetoBeast, and it's frustrating because at the end of the day, what I care about and what I preach is I want people to be happy and I want people to be healthy. And if someone wants to lose weight, if someone wants to go down that path, I think they should be hopefully do it in a healthy way, but they should have ways to do that and not be made to feel bad about wanting to do that. Because for me, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. It completely changed my life. And I want people to have that option and feel supported when they are going down that road.
So, I mean, yeah, I don't, that's what I said. But then there's another portion of this where it was towards the end of the episode. Like, so I'd been sitting there for like an hour and I really was getting almost kind of frustrated with how the episode went because I felt like, man, there's just so much more we can do. Like, this is going to be aired on national television. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be aired on national TV. We can talk to millions of people. I don't know how many people watch Dr. Phil, but I assume it's a good amount. I was like, I need to say more. And so the next thing that you see is me being like, nah, F this. Like, I'm going to go in and I'm taking over the show for a period of time.
Data is really what matters. And I run lab tests on my clients. So everybody does blood tests. I do stool testing. And fat is an
That's poop testing, by the way.
organ, and it influences inflammation, it influences your hormones, and it puts stress on your organs. And eventually those organs begin to fail. And I've seen that over and over on lab testing, and so it's something that we have data to prove. Also, being obese is putting you at risk for all-cause mortality, which is cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and just organ failures, like even the gallbladder is included in that too.
Not to mention orthopedic problems.
So these were the guests. So this guy is like a doctor. I think she was a nutritionist, and then this guy, he like writes blogs and stuff like that, and he talks about this stuff. And this guy, he was really nice. He seemed like a really, really like sweet dude. And but my man was so nervous. Like when he started talking, he was like shaking, and I was like, dude, it's all like, it's gonna be okay. But he had a lot of the same sentiments towards them that I did. Apparently he had been kind of overweight, and he had lost some weight and stuff like that. But so that's like kind of this was like the panel. Apparently this older gentleman and Dr. Phil are actually kind of like friends, and he's been on the show like multiple times kind of talking about this stuff before. But yeah, that's kind of behind the scenes stuff. Like we all kind of talked a little bit before we went on stage, and then they were secluded from us. And so, yeah, they were all nice. Like I didn't speak to this guy very much, but I spoke to her quite a bit. We were, like together before we went into like the actual building. She was really nice. But yeah.
Huge.
What are some of your favorite studies that you've read that aim to research people who are, as you say, obese, so people who are overweight, who don't have organ failure, who don't have orthopedic issues? What are some of your favorite studies and research that you've read exploring healthy fat people?
So again, like that's kind of a question that's like has no answer, right? So it's like, it's because those don't exist. So like that's probably what she was hoping he would say, was like, well, I'm not aware of those studies. And then she would say, well, it's because they don't exist, right? Like that was probably where she was hoping that line of questioning was going to go. But he just didn't even really listen to what she said, and kind of just went on his own little thing. And as you can tell, I was I was just like, bro, why are we talking about studies? Why? Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm so bad, dude. It's my ADHD, bro. I was like, come on, let's talk about something else. Let's move on.
Nothing in medicine's 100%.
Sure.
So you're going to look at data and you're going to look at percentages. And when you look at people who are 40, 50 more pounds overweight, the statistics tends to indicate, and this is very well documented, that they run more problems. It doesn't mean that everybody who's overweight is going to have these problems, but the risk is much greater than a person who is at ideal BMI.
What
or
body
healthy
fat
BMI.
is inflammatory. So regardless of how much you have, it is increasing inflammation, and inflammation is the root cause of all disease, regardless of what it is. And so it's important to look at the data in regards to that and really look at, okay, are you insulin resistant? Because insulin resistance can lead to dementia. They're calling dementia type 3 diabetes.
So I think like I don't want to say the issue was, but what I'm noticing is it felt like probably everyone kind of felt the same way as I did, where none of us had much time to talk. And so no one was really, it felt like was really speaking to her and really trying to educate her, because again, like she clearly knew a lot. Again, not saying I agree with it, but she clearly knew a lot. But it was like, it felt like everyone was just trying to spout out all of their knowledge as fast as they could. And I think that's why it worked for me so well, because I don't have that knowledge. I only have a doctorate in YouTube. And so I wasn't trying to share that because I don't have it, you know? So I was like, well, let me talk about the stuff that really affects people and what I believe can actually help us, instead of just like, oh, this is this thing, and then also this study, and also this disease, and there's this thing here. And I was just like, for me, I just don't feel like that's helping the everyman. You know, if it's something that you really want to get into, then yeah, it's good to know that stuff. But at the end of the day, like for me, I'm thinking, who's watching this? Regular people. You know what I'm saying? And so like, I want to help regular people, and that's kind of where my mindset was.
And if you're insulin resistant now, then you're setting yourself up for things like dementia in the future too.
You wanted to say something?
My comment is to the...
This was gnarly, dude. Okay, so the way that this worked was they said, and they had a couple people kind of talk, but anybody in the audience, and that's how they're doing it this year, I guess, can speak. And so if you raise your hand, they will bring a microphone to you. So all the people that were guests like were pre-mic'd up. But if you were just an audience member, you could raise your hand and they could bring a microphone to you and you can say stuff. So I don't think that this woman was planted. I think she was just a regular audience member that just so happened to have this story. But y'all, when I heard what she was saying, bro, I was like, it made me want to cry, dude. Like, it, just listen.
Young lady, I wish when I was as young as her, I had paid attention to the dangers. I'm the poster child of everything that can go bad because of weight. I'm going to have open heart surgery on October 10th. I had a heart attack. I have diabetes, high blood pressure, no cartilage on both legs. I need 2 knee replacements. And health is important. And overweight is linked to more health issues.
So I don't disagree, and I want to make it clear. Like, I'm not saying that anything that she says is wrong, but I do think it's important to, like, all of those things. Yes, like your weight can contribute, but I just don't want it to be like people to say like, oh, it's the only thing that matters, right? Like, health is an overarching thing that has all aspects of your life, right? Everything you're doing, everything you're ingesting, everything that you are doing or not doing, all of that stuff goes into your health. It's not just fat, unhealthy, not fat, healthy. That's just not true. It's not that simple. But again, like, I'm not saying that she's wrong or anything like that, but it's just like, I just wanted to say that. But what a powerful, like, it was gnarly, dude. I was not expecting that at all.
There's no question about it. You wanted to say?
Yeah, so it's clear that all the numbers that all these
This makes me. John lost 145 pounds. Oh, I lost less weight now, apparently. Oh, man. So this is when I was like, all right, here we go. I'm just going to say whatever I want, and they can cut me off if they want. They didn't actually share. They don't have everything that I said at this point, but it's a good amount of what I said, and I'm actually really surprised that they played all of it.
studies people are bringing up, more people are becoming overweight, obese. That's clearly happening. I don't think anyone would disagree with that, right? I think it's important to look at, is that really an issue? And if that is an issue, what can we do to solve it? Not what can the fat people do to stop being fat, right? It's more about what can we do as a nation, as a community.
Bro, I don't know why I get like this, but I was starting to cry and I was very annoyed. I was like, for real, dude, come on, just get it together.
What can we do to help people? I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional because I dealt with people constantly telling me I was fat. Guess who doesn't need to be told they're fat? A fat person. I'm telling you right now, I knew, right? And so it was so frustrating to me to have people make fun of you, call you names, say, oh, you're gonna die soon, yada, yada, yada. I knew, right? I knew what was going on. That didn't change the fact that I felt like I couldn't lose the weight. I felt like it was impossible for me. And so what I try and do as just a dude is I try and show people I was
But I'm also a doctor at YouTube, you know?
able to lose the weight. And if you want to, you can.
Your life is yours to live, and you're going to make the choice.
And so there was a little bit more that got cut off, but like that's kind of the basis. Like I was just frustrated, and I was like, because she ended up bringing up, like, talking about genuine stuff, like, you know, food deserts and, you know, socioeconomic stuff. And like when she said that, Dr. Phil literally said, well, we're not going to talk about that now. And I was just like, that's like what we should be talking about, because clearly, again, I already said it, but like clearly this is becoming a problem, and we've been trying to work on it, but we're only dealing with more and more people becoming obese, becoming fat. We're only dealing with that happening more. So clearly what we've been doing isn't working, but it felt like this episode was just doing more of that. Like, fat people, you need to stop being fat. It's unhealthy. It's like, dude, I get it, but like that's clearly not working. And I was like, I want to talk about more stuff. Like, how do we help people? And it just felt like that wasn't what was happening. And I was just frustrated. The rest of the episode is him just saying like, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. And he kind of goes on and tries to make it clear like, oh, we're not mad at each other or anything like that. We're just having a conversation. But what actually ended up happening, and I wanted to share this in the last video, but I was like, you know what? I want to, in case they don't share what I said, which they shared most of it, I wanted to say it at this video. So after the conversation, they brought us back to our like waiting rooms, or like our dressing rooms, I guess. And after a while, one of the producers came up, the one that I'd been working with, and she said, I am so sorry. Like, that is not what the episode was supposed to be. It was not supposed to go that way. And she said, I am so glad you said what you said. Because like all of us were in the back, all the producers, just like our hands on our head, like, oh my God, like they weren't supposed to be arguing like that. They weren't supposed, like, that's not what the plan was. And we're just really thankful that you said that at the end. And then she went on to say, I think I might have said this in the last video, but basically, like, she said the reason that we're doing the episodes like this now, where we have this round table, this group of people that are all talking, is because we want to encourage conversation. And what we thought would be nice, and what Dr. Phil thought would be nice, was he could be like the voice of reason between these two sides and like the middle ground. And they were like, Dr. Phil didn't do that today. You were the voice of reason. You were the middle ground. And I think at the end of the day, I did what I could and I said what I could. Obviously, I'm not going to change everyone's mind, but I am proud, like very proud of what I was able to do on the show. I'm very proud that they aired it, because I was a little nervous, like they would just kind of cut all that stuff out to make it like, you know, more like against each other. Because I think at the end of the day, us arguing with each other and going back and forth and being like, you're wrong, you're fat, you're disgusting, oh, healthy people are actually wrong, it's not helping. It's not. It's only causing people to go further and further and further and further into their camps and further into their beliefs and their ideologies. This is what we see when we look at politics, when people get further and further on their ideology of the political spectrum. It's the exact same thing that's happening here. Like literally the exact same thing. And if you look at the freaking comments of these videos, you see people be like, oh, it's probably crazy leftists that believe this. And it's just like, it's all connected. And I hate that, dude. I hate it. I hate it. Because I guarantee people listen to what I say and they think that I belong to a certain political ideology. They think I believe certain things, and that's just not true, man. Humans are more than just A or B. You go this way or you go that way, and I freaking hate it. And so I just really wanted to, I'm really glad that they put this on YouTube so I could like share my thoughts and share what I thought about everything, because at the end of the day, I did what I could, and I said what I could with the very limited amount of time that I had on the show, because I really did not have much time to talk. And so I did what I could, but I'm glad that I was able to kind of give you guys a little bit behind the scenes of everything that happened. And yeah, thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.